Liverpool Football Club, top of the league, 14 points adrift. They were 14 points adrift in January. They are 2 points clear. Of course, we know in 45 minutes, Manchester City kickoff, but the pressure is on the blue half of Manchester. A 16-point swing. Absolutely phenomenal stuff from Liverpool. They weren't brilliant today. They weren't at their scintillating best, but they didn't need to be. This is the business end of the season. This is the home straight part of the season where all that matters is winning. All that matters is getting the 3 points in the bag. All that matters is about winning your games. And Liverpool had enough. Yep, troubled a few times on the counter with a higher line, but they were able to clear themselves up. Alisson pulling off a save or two. Some saying he's a bit of a cheat code. I don't think he's a cheat code. Just a very, very good goalkeeper. Jota, again, inevitable with his head. I think he's the highest goal-scoring player in the league with his head, which is outstanding considering he's about the same height as Frodo Baggins. But Liverpool are inevitable. Liverpool are winning the league. And today is the reason as to why. They don't need to be scintillating. They don't need to be the best team. They just need to be Liverpool. And as cliched as that sounds, over the course of the international break, I've kind of come to some realizations about football fans. We've got to this point where we try and make football sound too much like a science, too much like something that's overly intricate. It's fairly basic with nuance. It's fairly basic with nuance attached to it. Liverpool don't need to look great. Liverpool don't need to be the most entertaining team. Liverpool don't need to do anything other than win. And they did it today, and we knew it was always happening. Watching the game, you could see this victory coming 110 miles away. You can't get away from that. We could all see it coming. We could all see it happening. Now, I want to take your calls. We're going to be getting some of the normal crew on. We're going to share the link for you to come on and have your say. Man City kicking off in 30 minutes' time. We're live after the 3 p.m. kickoffs as well, all day for you on the Football Terrace today. But make sure that like button is being hit right now. If you're watching on your your phone, you're watching on your computer, smash the like button now. Don't forget to do that. Super chat here says quadruple. I think that's meant to say quadruple is what Mohammed thinks there. Look, the quad is on. There's no doubt. There is no doubt at all. A comment here from the loudmouth says Joe Gomez needs to pull his socks up defensively. The threat Watford garnered was all from his mistakes. Yeah, I think there was definitely a little bit of that. Like I feel Gomez looked a little bit shaky today to me. He looked a little bit, I don't want to say looked out of sorts. That's probably the wrong way round to kind of describe it and how to say it. But yeah, it wasn't a great day for Gomez. However, you know what I mean? Trent Gomez or Joe Alexander-Arnold, that cross for Jota was out of this world. Out of this world. And that's one of the things, when you have someone like Trent out of your team, I feel there'll always be this fear of who's going to... He's the most creative player at Liverpool. When he's not playing, who's going to step up? Today, Joe Gomez did that, so no doubt about it. Reece says it's heating... Kev here said it's heating up. It is heating up. Can you imagine what that dressing room's like right now, the Man City dressing room? At Burnley. Like I said in the preview, if you haven't watched Hot Takes from yesterday with me and Have Hope, go watch it later. Go watch it after this. If City don't score in the first half, they drop points today against Burnley. That's my view. Been right 100% of the way with Liverpool since talking about the things in January with what was going to happen. I've got a sense that Liverpool are going to go to Anfield. Going to go to the Etihad in front of City. Cat pigeons amongst is what's coming there. Next week at the Etihad, life lessons about to land for plastic scousers is what Football Guy said. Man City fans, yeah, listen, I want to see a bit of that. I want to see some stick for some City fans. I want to see some stick from some City fans. I don't want it all being nicey-nicey. I don't want it being nicey-nicey. David says Pep motivating his players. Of course Pep's motivating his players, brother. Come on, David. We know that. I need people to understand this. I do think Liverpool are going to pip City. But it's not going to be through City becoming terrible. I just think Liverpool have got this little bit between their teeth. I want to say it quietly. A little quietly is coming. David is coming. They're coming for you, David. They're coming. They're coming, David boy. They are. Got some member chats, so super chats here. Jason, been a member for 3 months now as a first team member. Thank you, sir. He says, City fans must be shivering now. You can moan and groan all you want about referees or VAR decisions. The fact is 3 points is in the bag and we are top now. I want to speak about VAR though. I want to speak VAR for a moment. 100% a penalty today. 110% a pen. Without a doubt. The only thing I'm confused about is why? Why was that penalty given and hundreds other like it or not? And this one was a little bit excessive, like he really had hold of him. But I've seen so many like it. That's the infuriating thing, I think, for me. Not the Liverpool. When I saw it, I was like, yeah, it's a pen. But you'll probably see one in the City game or you'll see one in Chelsea's game, 3 or 4, and it'd be like, well, why? Why? The referees don't really help themselves, do they? Aaron here says, who's a member with his member super chat, says, big 3 points today. We weren't anywhere near our best, but I never felt the victory was in doubt. Bring on Man City next Sunday. Winning that game seals the league, in my opinion. Man City surely feeling nervous now is what Aaron believes. And I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. Terry, are you blind? That dude was fresh from the rugby pitch. Yeah, Zed Zoom. You're deaf. I said it was a pen. Clean the ears. Let's do this let me do it again. Let me just, maybe if I speak loudly. Like I'm in a room. No, is that better? Okay. It was a penalty. 100% a penalty. The point I'm making is that loads like it are not given. It's the consistency call that people will have an issue with. I'm stating referees make a rod for their own backs, but 100% a penalty. That's it. That's all I've got to say, my bro. I didn't say it wasn't one. I wanted to make that very clear to you, my bro. I had to make it very clear to you, my bro. And I want to give a shout out to my man of the match as well today, Thiago Alcantara. He's done it so much since he's been at Liverpool, as he's kind of found his feet here in the Prem, demonstrating to one of my best mates, a Liverpool fan, and he messaged me about 2 months ago about Thiago, and his words were, "I now understand why you rate Paul Scholes so highly." It's just it. It's just it. And he was out of this work. If the attacking players were as great as him today, Liverpool win 3-4-5-0. Yeah, phenomenal in the middle. Absolutely phenomenal in the middle. There's no doubt about it. Echo chambers. Terry, I thought Liverpool's attack looked toothless at times. What I will say about Liverpool's attack is this. Look, Jota inevitable with a goal. Mo Salah's not been at it since AFCON. He really hasn't been very good. Performances and goal delivery. That would be the only slight concern that I have as a Liverpool fan. Talk quad level chat. Like, you're going to need Salah at some point soon to click back into gear because you need the goals. There'll come a point, and maybe not Watford, maybe not when you play Man United, you'll be fine, but maybe the game against City, big Champions League nights, big FA Cup semis and finals, you're going to need Mohamed Salah, I think. And I'm sure he'll turn it around. I'm sure he'll get himself back to his best. Gomez was good today. Great cross to Jota. Offensively, great. A few defensive mishaps, but overall, a very, very good performance from him. City hit the summit soon. And look, City may go back top today. But it's the pressure. From a title race point of view, you kind of need Liverpool to win today. Makes it more fun. Makes it much more fun. It really does. I'm going to bring that panel out when we hit 250 likes, people. They're all backstage. Mo's there. Ben's there. Tom's there. Ram is there with us. But let's get this to 250 likes while we're live on the air. Let's get that done. And I want to test something as well. I want to test something I was told. When you hit the like button, I've never said this before, but can you all just spam for like a minute in the chat? Just all spam anything you want. Nothing mad. Just spam stuff. I want to see if it does something that I'm looking at right now analytically. I was told it does. I want you guys just to spam, right? Just spam for a minute from like now. Just get it done. And then the panel's going to be on their way out to us now. Let's have a little look here. Some random comments. Giroud would have had so many titles with Chelsea. Yeah, he would. I mean, Luke Chadwick got titles with Man United. Like, it's inevitable. I'm going to have a mouthful of this water. Bear with me a second. very refreshing. You're all spamming, yeah? Interesting. It is kind of working. YouTube is mad. Honestly, they are legitimately mad. But yeah, there we go. Thanks for spamming. Panel time now. I'm not going to tell you why. I just got you to spam. Panel time now, people. Man like Saints here with us as well. Now let's do this. Gents, welcome back to the show. Congratulations to the Scousers that we have here, the Wolves that we have here, and of course with Mo as well. How you all doing?
Very good, man. Very good.
All good.
I heard it watching the show. It was show. Stephen Graham did a show recently. We played a policeman, and I heard these two little yobbos called another police officer from Manchester a wolf. And I was like, I never heard that before. Anyway, I digress massively. Important win today, Thomas. Give me your thoughts, mate.
Weren't great. It wasn't a great game. I thought we were a bit dodgy at times, but I don't care at this point. I wouldn't care if we were crap for the rest of the season and won every game 1-0. The performances aren't my concern at this point. It's about getting the wins. And once again, the defence, the best in the world defensively. Alisson Becker, the best in the world. Van Dijk, the best in the world. You know, we were poor attacking today, and they bailed us out again. And that's all I want at this point. That's why I'm so confident going into City. Even if we're not all fully firing, that defence is just so solid that they'll have a hard time breaking through that anyway.
Yeah, I mean, Ben, you're agreeing with a lot of that as well.
Yeah, listen, our last 10 Premier League games, we've scored 25 and conceded 2. So everything Tom's just said there, it's proofs in the pudding. Listen, Tom is right again. It was not a good performance, and at half time, I was begging for Fabinho to come on the pitch because I've maintained that when Fabinho is not playing, I'm not confident in that midfield. Jones, Henderson, I didn't think were great in the first half. I said it in the space. I got crucified because we were winning, but I just always remember back to that game against Brighton when we were 2-0 up and Fabinho wasn't on the pitch and we caved in. So I'm glad he came on in the end. He got another goal, which is something that we haven't really seen from Fabinho before, but he's banging them in at the minute. We got the win, we got the 3 points, we got the clean sheet, we're top of the league. Might only be for a couple of hours, but listen, the pressure's on City now to go in there, beat Sean Dyche's Burnley. So yeah, it's all good for us.
Yeah, all Burnley fans at 3:00, I assume. Ram as well. I mean, business end of the season, the most important thing is winning. You just must be getting to this point now where it feels almost inevitable that you will win games, these types of games.
Yeah, I guess so. I think the only games that we are a little bit tentative about are the big games, your Man City's, Tottenham's to an extent. But every game I feel like is got to be a dub for us. Like our team is just really, really good. It's really, really good. And if the starting 11 isn't that great, we can whack on Diaz, we can whack on Mane, we can whack on Fabinho if he wasn't starting. Like, we've got so many good players just to call upon if we need a goal. Or if we need to shut up shop, we can bring on Konate if we wanted to. Like, it's nice to see. It is very, very nice to see. And yeah, big up Alisson, my player of the season. Just to say that out loud. Manifest it. Has to be PFA Player of the Year, Alisson Becker. I'm going for it,
Not even being the best player on Liverpool, mate. Fabinho's clear.
No, stop it. No.
Fabinho's been better.
We're not doing this in-house fighting, guys. We're not doing that. It's not what we're doing today.
All right, let the agenda roll, Tom. Let the agenda roll. Let it roll.
Alisson Becker was amazing today. That save he made in the first half and then we scored from it 30 seconds later was immense. And he's been immense all season. And he is by far the best. I'm not having any of this Edouard Mendy, David De Gea, Ederson shouts. Please, come on. Alisson Becker is the best in the world. He makes hard... There was the head in the first half, which he just caught. But you're sitting there and going, Aaron Ramsdale tries to push that past the post. He just makes stuff look so effortless, Alisson. He's one of the best in the world. And I see fans moan. I see fans moan on socials going, oh, Liverpool wouldn't be anywhere near this title if they didn't have Alisson. Yeah, but we do. That's the whole point. You have a world-class goal.
That's why we spent 70 million on him.
He's just
Unlike
immense.
Chelsea, who signed
Yeah,
on
it's part of the team. Like, people don't understand that goalkeepers are actually part of the defense. They practice with them. All the movement has happened with them being in the goal. So he's part of your defense, and he's bailing you out most of the time. Sometimes when people go behind that high line that they play, they realize that there is a keeper behind them that can actually get the ball, not only just push it to a corner or something, start the play again, which is what happened, which Tom was saying. He just doesn't push it wide. He starts the play really well. His distribution today for his hand was really, really class. Many times I saw Van Dijk like clapping at him when he was like pushing it to Henderson or Gomez, or even in the midfield to Thiago. This is something that you don't get from probably 99% of the goalkeepers in this world. And it's something that is worth the 70 million they paid. Is something that will win you titles if he stays all this time, like he's supposed to stay for a long time. This guy, Alisson Becker, is a difference maker in every single game. If there is someone that got behind the Liverpool back line, which is, we're gonna see
He
this.
makes
He's
hard things look
different.
easy.
He might be the difference.
He
Yeah.
makes
Yeah,
hard
definitely.
things
I
look
agree with
easy.
that. His positional sense makes things just look so easy. And he's
Yeah, man, Brazilian Buffon.
I remember Gary Neville talking about how he feels like goalies should save the majority of one-on-ones. And I remember everybody absolutely giving him pelters saying, what are you talking about? And he spoke about the fact that, and clearly he's picked this up through, I mean, he played with two of the Prem's greatest ever goalkeepers in
Schmeichel and
Schmeichel and Van der Sar.
Van der Sar. And he obviously learned through watching them, talking to them, being around them. He isn't just saying these, like Gary Neville often comes out with things and people say, well, you're a failed manager, so you know nothing about football. It's a really weird take. That means we're not going to listen to Ronaldinho's opinions about football then, because he's never been a manager, right? Like, I don't know. It's kind of weird to me, right? But I kind of look at it in the sense of he gets everything right, Alisson, but it's because of his positioning. And there's a comment here that says, when David De Gea is amazing, United are lucky. When Alisson is amazing, he's part of the defense. It's not Liverpool fan logic. And I'll defend Liverpool fans here. That's fat football fan logic. Like, if today Edison pulls off 110 great saves and City win, there'll be some Liverpool fans that say, Man City, but lucky today. That's just how it goes, my guy. Like, it's just fans for you. But he's been brilliant. From your point of view, saying, like, how confident are you growing now? Because it just feels to me, if I was watching the game, if I assess your performance, it was okay. But I'm watching as a United fan, and I'm like, yeah, Liverpool winning this. It just felt the second goal was coming. How much confidence is streaming through you right now?
You're asking the wrong guy, bro. Like, you needed to go to someone else, bro. This is quad squad right here. You know, like that. Like,
Yes, it's coming.
You know, hey, you're not gonna get any Don Hussam. Well, you know, guys, I don't want to get clipped. Bun that. This is like at the end of the day, I understand where guys are coming from, but this is a beautiful time to be a football fan, a Liverpool football fan. Like, you've had these feelings, Terry. Do you know what I mean? Like, being in the latter stages of the season and still having a plethora of competitions that you're still involved in. And to be very, very honest with you, this type of feeling isn't something that we're accustomed to. So we have to embrace it. We have to, do you know what I mean? Just I'm much like you said, our performances from, I'll probably say 5-6 weeks ago. I'm talking like Arsenal performance, Brighton. We haven't had. I said this on my channel. The 6-0 Leeds game seems many moons away. Do you know what I mean? In terms of like, but, and you know this, Terry, this is championship form. You just, like you said, there was no part when I didn't feel like, no, we're going to win this. We may not do it as convincingly as I'd like. We may not do it so that we can rest some of the players in which I'd need to be rested. But regardless, there was never a point when I thought, oh, we're not gonna, do you know what I mean? And that's the confidence building, that's growing. And yeah, bring it on, man. See what I'm saying?
So Liverpool did not create, just a question, Liverpool did not create a lot of chances today, especially on goal. Is that because Watford were deeper? Or is that because of the lack of creativity from the front line? Because I thought Firmino today...
We created like 4 clear-cut chances. We didn't take
we had
them.
like
until the minute 76. Until minute 76, he has 2 shots on target. One of them is the header that went on goal.
I think that's down to decision.
Shot on target isn't the key factor. We had the Jota header, which he was unmarked for and put it over the bar. Van Dijk was unmarked for a header and put it over the bar.
Jones put it over the bar.
Yeah, like, Jones. One of the key parts today was the stupid long shots. I don't get it. Jones is taking them on his left foot. Jota's trying to take them on his left foot from 30 yards out. You don't do that. But then the part that annoyed me was Jota took a long shot in like the 70th minute. and Curtis Jones rips into him. Like, lad, I love you, Curtis Jones. You were doing it 10 minutes ago,
Minutes ago,
and no one's ripping into you. So why are you ripping into others? Like, the decision making today weren't great.
So decision making in the final third today was a little bit of like I
Cohesion.
thought like Salah tried to dribble more than he should have. Many times he lost the ball. I think if we get the stats, he's probably lost position 50% of the times when he tried to dribble. I know it's not working for him because of what happened with Egypt, with the AFCON, and actually the World Cup.
That happens with Salah when he's good, though, to be fair. But usually he'll get a goal or two. Like, you know what I mean? So we're not really sat here looking at
all it really is the shoot first mentality we've got in that front three. So Firmino weren't doing it today, but Jota and Salah, when they get the ball, their first instinct isn't, let me take someone on and cut it back.
Yeah,
their first instinct
I thought
is, can I
Firmino
get
today was
the space
absolutely
for a shot?
phenomenal, to be
Do you know
honest.
what's
Firmino, yeah, we need to
2009.
praise Firmino. Firmino was
This is
unreal.
Firmino from 2019, right? This is Firmino from 2019,
Yeah,
dropping,
100%.
linking up play, dribbling, passing left and right, distribution, everything, leaving that
Finished football
space
player,
to
though,
Jota.
apparently. Finished.
That goal, if Firmino was not getting defenders out of the 18, Jota were not going to be able to make that run in behind to get that cross from Jones. This is Firmino of 2009. This is Firmino of the Champions League final. This is the Firmino.
I seen him bodying man in the middle of the field. I couldn't believe it. Like weights man. I said, "Come on, Firmino."
No, he was great today. Do you know what's interesting as well? I saw quite a few Liverpool fans tweeting about when the pace of the game was slowed down. And I know you put some stuff in the group chat as well, Tom, around.
Oh, don't get me started on this.
And I'm watching it and I'm like, see, this is the thing. I've had this belief for a long time, and when I was saying it when Liverpool winning major trophies but won a season, I was getting called a hater. I wasn't being a hater. I was talking from the perspective of a Man United fan who has seen his club have multiple trophy-winning seasons where you're winning 2 major trophies as a bare minimum. I've seen us do it. I've seen us do it twice in my life, 99 and 2008, and I've seen us do doubles as well. All of them, and most of Man United's doubles I've actually witnessed, which is crazy. You have to slow the pace of the game down. You have to start games where maybe all your best players are not on the pitch. Every game you play between now and the end of the season, you're going to have to rotate heavily. You're going to have to try, even sometimes when you're 1-0 up, you're going to have to slow the pace of the game down at times because you have to reserve energy. If you play full throttle, heavy metal football with the same main 13 players, I know you can substitute 5 now, but 13, 14 players, you will burn out by the time the end of May comes because the games and the intensity is going to increase. You have to do it. And it's why sometimes when you're only going for 1 trophy, it's great to break goal scoring records and smash everybody out your way. You can't do that when you're trying to win 2, 3 trophies.
Tell them again, Terry. Trust me.
You know what as well, Terry? I think you're spot on there.
Let me just finish my point, mate. That is why when people talk to me about points totals, I laugh because if you go back and watch those seasons in reviews, there are games where it's a case of, okay, look, a draw's okay this weekend. We've got a massive Champions League game against a huge team on the Tuesday and it's Saturday afternoon. It's okay to take your foot off that gas because we can bring it back at a later stage. That's just how it was. And it's like, that's why when you go back with history, looking at points totals or the scores of games or how many goals that you scored in that season, it's not that important.
It's not
the
fair,
3 points and the trophies at the end of it. Sorry, Tom, you were saying something, mate.
It was just, I saw it in the game from a couple of people saying, "Oh, I don't like this style of play that we do when we slow it down and just pass it around midfield and all that. I want us to be quick and fast paced with it." Even if you look at it from, it doesn't make sense overall because it tires your players out quicker. But even if you look at it from a game sense, that was what Watford were wanting us to do. So we could push up high, they could play a ball over the top to Ismail Assar, and they'd be in behind. So it made complete sense for us to slow it down, keep our foot on the ball, and keep the possession, make them come out to us, try and create the space. It doesn't make any sense for us to try and, when we're 1-0 up, we're the ones with everything to lose. Why would we go gung-ho? Why would we try and commit more to get a second or third when we're not even chasing goal difference? I'd understand if we were 3 or 4 goals behind on goal difference, but we're not.
It's as though people think that we're like 17, 18, where we don't have.
I was
players
literally
have the
about
capacity.
to say that.
You know what I mean? Like we've got Thiago, we've got Fabinho, who know how to slow games down. These are players that know how to win league titles as well. Like everyone in our squad knows how to win league titles, but they won it abroad as well against teams as well. So we have the players to go and do it. It's not as though we have players that don't have the capacity. Like we've got players that are able to control the game, slow it down, and make them press us. and try and break us down.
Yeah,
So,
no, I agree, and I actually think your crowd felt it today. The crowd at the ground got it because you guys at times the crowd almost simmered things down, almost turned it into like a practice match, and that's what you need at times in football. People often say sport is about entertainment. It is and it isn't. It's
about winning.
It's about winning. Winning comes
It's
first.
about winning.
And
Trust
there's
me.
no point you guys doing something to make the game more entertaining that costs you points. There's no trophies for that. Me Awesome here says that's nonsensical, Terry. United has 79 points. It does not make up the disparity between that and 100. But you're on a different talking point there, my friend. We spoke about this. Football, all sports. And I swear, if you look at like the guys that were winning gold medals in 100 meters in the 1950s and 1960s, they wouldn't even qualify for the Olympics now. Does that mean they weren't Olympic champions? Sports, science, diets, understanding becomes better. Fitness has improved dramatically since 1999 until now across the board. So of course you're going to get teams winning and getting more points, but you can't compare eras. You compare medals because it isn't a level playing ground for athletes now across all sports. What they have to their advantage compared to sports stars from 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, you can't compare. This Liverpool team beats your back-to-back winning Champions League team in the 70s. If they played now, like fitness versus fitness, energy, like everything,
Smash them.
You smash them 5, 6, 7.
Smash them.
Too fast, too powerful, too quick.
And that doesn't take away from how good they've done
they were in their era. Absolutely. I just don't. That's what it frustrates me about the comparisons. You just can't compare eras.
Circumstances as well. You know, that United team that got 79 points, they didn't need to go for 100 points. Whereas the teams now, you need 95 points to win a league.
And I look at it this way. Fergie spoke about it. When Jose came in, we'll come back to Super Chat in a minute. When Jose came in and changed the game where you had to start seasons quickly, Man United reacted and started seasons quickly. Pepper then changed this game where it's almost you don't drop points.
You just don't. Yeah, it's just constant.
I think when we look back now, there's almost this element now when we look back. I'm not saying teams did this consciously. It was almost we've got a few losses in us because we've got this amount of points. It was almost it was okay to lose games. It's almost become
we've done that, Terry. We've done
that. Well, you guys
done that.
You guys matched what City did in the you guys go, well, that's what we're gonna have to do. That's the standard now that we have to reach to get to that top. And Liverpool changed it. And you look at Chelsea as an example. They don't lose a lot. It's only been some draws they've had because they've not been scoring the goals that's taken them out the title race. They are about to, if they get it right next year, they're going to do the same thing.
No, Terry, I was saying in terms of that whole, we've reached that points tally. We should be all right. We've done that, and it's come to bite us in the arse. Do you know what I mean? And we thought, oh, well, hold on a second. And this is why I'm that. And now City have really changed. That's why that title winning season, we knew what the job was. You know what I mean? Like, regardless of what happens to them, we've just got to keep on going because we're not going to fall back into that lull. And you're right, man. City have changed the game.
Do we think that will change when Pep and Guardiola, when Pep and Klopp lead? Do we think that will go back? Like La Liga now is like the points have dropped. Like even the Bundesliga, the points have dropped.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Do we think this will go back to the normal 85
Probably
points,
85,
90 when you're the league?
85, 87, probably.
Well, I just don't think you can't keep this up, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like, you literally can't keep this up.
You can't keep it up, and it will dip. I mean, Gary Neville made a point this week. I thought he was off, and I said it in a couple of videos now around Liverpool dropping to 4th or 5th. I think that would only happen if you appointed. That will only happen if you appoint the wrong manager, because. Yeah. If you appoint the wrong person, that could happen. But if you get it right, Liverpool and City are still going to be the best two teams in the league, along with Chelsea. I don't think there's any issues there at all. That super chat says maybe the change in scoring is Klopp. I don't know what this is.
Shoring
up the defense. Terry, you said it earlier in the season. We needed to work on our defense. It's the case of taking. Yeah, of course it is. And you guys were conceding too many goals for a team to win the league earlier on in the season, throwing away leads. You won quite a few of them, especially in the Champions League where you came back. But if you carried on conceding like that, you weren't going to win the league. And of course you had to fix it. It's inevitable. Like attacks win games, defenses win you. League titles is as simple as that. In terms of City kicking off, though, in a few minutes' time, what are your thoughts on that, boys? Do you think they'll win today, or do you see a step up? On a real.
I'm excited for big Wout Weghorst up against little Nathan Ake. It's gonna be funny to watch. It's gonna be funny to watch.
But Ake isn't bad aerially, you know. Ake isn't actually that bad aerially.
Saint, Ake's like 5'9". Weghorst is like 6'8".
So is Jota.
That's true. But I don't know.
I hear you. Defensive defending, like head aerial is different than attack. I hear what you're saying, but
honestly, all day I've been trying to reason. Burnley got Weghorst, they've got McNeil. Everything just
going to
get City 3-0 win. It's going to be like a City 3 or 4-0.
No, do you know what's going to happen? It's going to be 0-0, and then we're going to see, like, you remember Company versus Leicester, something like that's going to happen in like the 80th minute.
I will say that playing Burnley at this. To be fair, that goes for any of your games really. But playing like the Burnleys at this stage of the season is a lot different than playing them at the beginning of the season. Do you know what I mean?
Especially considering that they've got their Premier League survival on the line as well.
That's what I'm saying. This is when Sean Dyche earns his money. Do you see what I'm saying? So
they show up against big teams as well, man. Yeah. They always show up against the big teams.
They've got to score early. City have got to get a goal in early, because as soon as Chelsea 100%. Scored against them, they capitulated. You know, and they need to score early, but the longer it goes on, and obviously, boys, I know what you're going to be thinking. If you guys can go into that game at the Etihad, point in front or 2 points in front,
a draw
changes everything. It changes absolutely everything for you.
Man.
I want to ask about one of your players that does look a little bit off. Mo Salah looks a little bit. I don't want to say under the weather. He just doesn't look quite himself. What's the chat amongst Liverpool fans about this?
Fatigue.
I think it's
how much football has he played, man? How much football has Mo Salah played?
He's played 620 minutes.
Bro,
in African sun. Terry, when's the last time you were in Africa, brother? I'm telling you, that sun is different.
When was the last time I was there? I was
not Tenerife or Spain or
no. I was in the Cape Verde Islands like about 10 years ago, and warm. No, it was very nice. Cape Verde Islands are nice, bruv.
Imagine playing 120 minutes and then penalties and then doing it. Do you know what I mean? It's a lot.
And it weren't even like it was 120, then a 90. It was 120, then 120, then 120, then 120. He just played all the football he could have done. Then last week, 90, 120. And we've got to bear in mind, the level he was at the start of the season was Messi and Ronaldo levels of good.
Ridiculous.
There's always going to be a natural drop-off from that point because he isn't Messi and Ronaldo. But I still think he's good enough. And when we need him most this season, he'll step up. I think he's just chasing. He does this from time to time when he doesn't score loads. He chases a goal a bit too much. And you see him start taking shots that he doesn't need to take on, or ignoring passes that if he had a goal already, he'd be playing.
Has anyone tested his eyesight? We need to know if the man can probably still got that 20/20 vision, bro. Jesus and all of that. Like, it's a bit techie. You know what I mean?
I think for... Sorry, go on.
So Dinesh here says, afternoon, Terry, not worried about Mo Salah. There is a saying, form is temporary, class is permanent. Like, he'll click again at some point, won't he? He'll start.
Yeah,
every time we talked about Mo Salah dipping the form for the last 4 or 5 years, and he comes back and he scores goals, makes display here and there. I'm not going to be surprised if he comes back next game against City and does a wonder goal or something. We're all talking about Salah back again, and everybody. He does this all the time, dips in form, then comes back, does his thing, dribbles 2 or 3 players, scores a wonder goal, and then the best player in the world again. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, to be honest.
The only thing is the run. I think like we just said, with all jokes aside, playing 520-minute games in African sun is going to affect you. But then the only thing is the run that we now have, he's needed in pretty much every game where we're going for a quad. So it is how you manage that. Do you know what I mean? That kind of. I wasn't really that happy to see that he had 70 minutes against the Watford at Anfield. You know, these are the type of games if you want to try and. You know what I mean? But
we could have done without.
He'll have wanted all 90 now that we got a pen late on. He'll have wanted all 90 so we could take.
Yeah, do you see what I mean? That's why I said I hope that he's not chasing a hat trick, because then we'd leave him on for that. Do you know what I mean? And it's like stuff like that. We really got to manage his minutes, man. Like, but it's hard when you're going for a quad, though.
Yeah, that's very true. You do. I mean, that's what Klopp's got. Klopp's got to be firm with him here and make him understand that you can't play every game and every minute, because when it comes to those semi-finals of the FA Cup, Champions League, and maybe the final of the Champions League, those last 2 or 3 Prem games, you're just going to need Mo Salah. Like there's going to be some games coming up soon where he maybe has to start on the bench, and hopefully the team can get the job done without him. And he just, if he can get a game or two in the next few weeks where he's getting 90 minutes rest. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like win your first leg of the Champions League game 3-0, so Mo Salah can start on the bench for the second leg. You're going to need that. You are, because he's the only one who's prolific. And I don't think you'll miss him against Watford's. It's if he isn't scoring and when you're playing City, when you're playing these bigger teams, that's the only time I can see it being a bit of an issue, if that makes sense, because it's harder to score against them, obviously.
And we're going to think about it. You're going to come back to 70 minutes against Watford and think, what was the flipping point? Like, do you know them ones there? Like, so you're right, Terry, man. We need to try and manage the minutes as best you can. But then in saying that, you put him on, leggy as hell. He's been rubbish, and he'll bang a goal. You know, one's there, so it's tough.
He's one of the only players in this team that only needs a half chance. You could give him the ball. He's got 2 defenders in front of him, and it's bouncing. And I'd still back him to find a way to put it in the back of the net. That's the key thing with Salah. Even when he's not all on it, I back him to a score. Whereas if Mane isn't on it, I can't even back him to take a good first touch. It's just crazy the level Salah's got to now.
Can we just put a minute for how good Thiago was in this game, though? Jeez, and man like Joe Gomez and that.
Joe Gomez was class.
Before we talk about the Thiago passes and all the stuff, today Thiago actually filled the position. It's Henderson that played deeper defensively. How many interceptions Thiago had today? How many times he broke the Watford trying to play? What impressed me today, because I know Thiago can pass the ball. I know Thiago can distribute the ball. I know Thiago's first touch is immense, right? But today, his defensive work and tracking everybody and stopping the play from Watford, every time they got on their bikes and trying to go forward, he stopped them. This is impressive because it actually shows that Fabinho doesn't have to play the next 16 games, 90 minutes. If you're reaching the finals in every competition, you have 16 games in 2 months. That's a lot of games for one player to play that defensive position. So Thiago today was absolutely great in both aspects of the game, offensively and defensively, because normally he leaves the defensive side to Fabinho, and I didn't think that you needed Fabinho today in the first half defensively. It was going, it was working, it was okay. Even with Henderson being the deeper one, it was Thiago who was stopping every single attack for Watford today.
It's the intelligence, man. Like he's shown this like in moments this season where he's had that intelligence just to intercept the ball, get in that quick challenge, and then start the play again. He's shown it at Bayern Munich, which people didn't really talk about. Defensively at Bayern Munich, it was very, very good. But now you're starting to see it at the forefront because it's Klopp's system. Everyone needs to do their job, and everyone's starting to give him his flowers. But he's been doing this the whole season.
And it's his industry.
Yeah, exactly.
You're right, Rams. The passing, the intelligence, we associate that with Thiago. I personally didn't really associate the industry like with Thiago, the getting around. But I will say to you, I don't think only because of fitness that Thiago holds up any of Fabinho's defensive work. I just, in actual fact, we're trying to mollycoddle him so that he's not.
Oh playing... no, Fabinho defensively is another.
Yeah, level. As much as I hear where you're coming from, Thiago isn't that person to free up Fabinho's load. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know what you mean. I think
can I just jump in real quick?
Just not fitness.
Yeah. So yesterday, like, was putting some stuff on Twitter, like, you know, in the big running, who's going to be the most important players, and you know, people were saying Salah, Trent, Virgil, all those players, which is true. I think, you know, they're all as important as each other. But I said if we can keep Thiago fit, right, because this man is a player that's won everything. Bayern Munich won the lot. Barcelona did it there as well, and he's a born winner. His ability combined with that, it could genuinely take us to something huge this season. Because last season we heard all sorts of crap about Thiago, and maybe some of it was justified, to be fair, but people were saying, oh, it doesn't fit Liverpool system, he's not a Premier League player, blah, blah, blah. But now we've got our squad, you know, we've got the fans in the ground, we're seeing the true Thiago. This is the Thiago we thought we'd signed. And like I said, if we can keep him fit for the next 15 games, however many we're going to have, this could be special, what Thiago's going to do.
Like, you think about what they said last season, like German pundits said, if we sign Thiago, we win everything. look what's happening now.
Well, again, it's he's one.
Not yet, Ram. We haven't won in.
Yeah, I
we
know,
haven't won
I
anything.
know.
Not yet, Ram.
Happening
yet.
now. Happening now.
What I'd say, boys, what I'd say about that is this, and this isn't trying to make a dig in terms of the most worn out debate in history, but this is why players like it's true. But this is why Paul Scholes was the greatest. When people like it's different. It isn't what Thiago does is different from Gerrard type midfielders, and I don't mean this as a dig at Gerrard. Gerrard was
Stevie
amazing.
could do it, man.
True.
No, CV Gerrard can't do what Thiago does. Thiago is a tempo man, controls the pace of a game. Man United, those types of players they're not spectacular in the sense of they won't make the score the screamer that wins you a game. They don't take the headlines. Our City have gone 1-0 up, people.
Yes.
They won't generally take the headlines unless you're looking at how they control and play a game. Now, Gerrard was a top-class midfielder that could control football matches at times and for periods. Of course he could. He was world-class. Thiago is a different type of midfield player. I always find that in the Premier League, we've had a propensity to underrate those types of football players my whole life. They don't... Well, if you go to Spain, if you go to Italy, and I remember...
Lauded.
And by the way, Michael Carrick was a step down, was an echelon below Thiago. I'll always say that. But I remember I told the story many times. I was in Italy when we played Inter Milan, and I got up in the morning after we beat them, and I'm on my phone checking what the newspapers were saying, and it was all Ronaldo this and Rooney that and whatever else. Every paper you saw locally in Milan. Michael Carrick, what a magician. Michael Carrick, this. Their palette for football was just different from that in England. We're always about the superstar, the goal scorer, the Hollywood moments of a match, not the subtleties. And Thiago's control of a game, that he's intelligence of when and where to pass the ball, it's just out of this world. It's just out of this world.
I'd say I put Michael Carrick in the same breath as Fabinho in terms of they're very, very similar. I think one thing people forget is how good a passer Fabinho is. Fabinho is a very, very good passer of the ball.
Yeah, it's not how good you are at passing; it's game management and tempo of a game, and it's a difficult one to explain, really, because it's hard. It's hard to quantify their role. There's a comment here that actually I want to get your take on this that says Fabinho better than Kante. Do Liverpool fans believe Fabinho is better than N'Golo Kante
as a lone pivot? As a lone pivot.
Oh yeah, as a lone pivot, yeah, 100% as a DM. But I do think that they're different. They bring different things.
So when everyone brings up the conversation of Kante and Makelele, I cannot put Kante above Makelele because Makelele could do the lone pivot. Kante can't. That's why I always put Makelele above.
Well, because Kante is more.
Kante is more athletic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mo, you're right. He's not that guy. It's like comparing chalk and cheese. You're comparing two different types of players that you want. Like it's like comparing Gerald with Scholes. There's two different types of players.
Yeah, one is a number 6 that plays a box. Like Kante can play box to box. He will track back, but also he will back your attack. Fabinho, Makelele, like Casemiro style. It's like these guys are brilliant in stopping and starting the attack from the back. Like they can get the ball from the Kante is not the guy that is going to get the ball from the defense, distribute left and right. But Fabinho would do that. Michael Carrick used to do this. This is that this is different style of football completely.
Kante is like a Mascherano. Like he's everywhere, just nipping into play. In my opinion,
they are different, but then at the same time, it's they play it. Or their job is fairly similar. Break up play, distribute the ball. So I still think they're comparable. It's they do it in a, as you say, Michael Carrick, he was different from Fabinho. He wasn't as fit. He was nowhere near as physical as Fabinho is when he plays. He was his reading ability was great. He didn't need to make tackles. He read things so brilliantly as an example. But I would compare the two if you're going to do a side by side because at the end of the day, they play in a very similar position. But I do look. I think N'Golo Kante. I think Fabinho's got to maybe in a few. I don't know if it's too early. About to say no, it's not about the World. It's not about the World Cup because he can't help if the Brazil team is rubbish around
Casemiro.
him. That's not. But it's about.
But he doesn't play. He doesn't play because Casemiro's ahead of him.
it's not. Well, it's not about that. It's about
But,
how
he's the best DM in the world. So Casemiro is ahead of him, but he is the best.
Yeah,
DM in the world. That's what
well.
Liverpool fans. That's what Liverpool fans will tell you.
That's a different conversation, bro. We move.
What I was going to say is he's probably got to win a few more trophies with his Liverpool team, another Champions League, another Premier League.
After the quad, it'll be undeniable.
Well,
really.
if the quad happens, it's thereabouts. Listen, guys, thank you all very much for coming on and having your say. Viewers, thank you. We're back live after the 3 p.m. games and after Man United take on Leicester, which I've had 3 weeks without watching my club, and it's been bliss. Now I've got to watch them again. So it's going to be a painful one, I think.
You're getting drunk again, Terry.
We're ready, baby. We're ready. The vodka's here. I have to. Everyone, we'll see you all soon. Take care. Goodbye. God